I overheard my girlfriend telling her friends at a party, "He should feel lucky I haven't dumped him. He's the least attractive man I've ever been with. I've dated so much better." I smiled, grabbed my jacket, and walked away. 2 weeks later, she tried to come back and found out she'd been replaced. You know that feeling when you are standing in a quiet room and you can hear a high-pitched ringing that no one else seems to notice? That was my life for the past year. A constant, low-level hum of disrespect that I kept telling myself was just background noise. Last night, the noise became a deafening scream, and I finally decided to shut it off for good. My name is Alex. I own a high-end landscaping company. I design and build outdoor spaces for people with more money than taste. I am good at it. I take raw, ugly patches of dirt and turn them into something beautiful and structured. I am a builder. I am logical. I do not play games. My girlfriend Jenna was supposed to be my partner in building a life. We had been together for 2 years. We lived in my house, a place I bought and renovated long before I met her. We were a team, or at least that was the contract I thought we had signed. I am not a flashy guy. I do not wear designer clothes or drive a sports car. My money goes into my business, my investments, and the life I was building. I am stable. I am reliable. And as I discovered last night, I am also the least attractive man she has ever been with. The moment of revelation came at a party. It was hosted by one of her friends, a woman who married a tech millionaire and now considered making introductions a full-time job. The party was a collection of people Jenna desperately wanted to be a part of. Men with soft hands and expensive watches, and women who looked like they had never seen a carb in their lives. I felt like a different species. I was trying my best, mingling, talking about the stock market, pretending to care about someone's new boat. After about an hour, I needed some air. I stepped out onto the back patio, which, ironically, was a space I had designed for the homeowners a year ago. The sliding glass door was slightly ajar, and I could hear the party buzzing inside. Then I heard my name. It was Jenna's voice, followed by the sound of her friend's laughter. I froze. "I am serious," Jenna said, her voice dripping with a mix of wine and disdain. "He is a great guy, and he is stable, obviously. But look at him. He is so plain. He should feel lucky I have not dumped him. Honestly, he is the least attractive man I've ever been with. I have dated so much better." One of her friends chimed in, "But he pays the bills, right? You've got a good setup." "For now," Jenna replied, and they all laughed again. The ringing in my ears stopped. In its place was a profound, absolute silence. The kind of silence you find deep underground. All the little comments from the past 2 years suddenly made sense. The jokes about my work boots, the suggestions that I should dress better, the way she would introduce me as my boyfriend Alex, never mentioning what I did for a living. It was not background noise. It was a clear signal that I had chosen to ignore. I did not storm in there. I did not cause a scene. My mind, which is used to designing complex, multi-level landscapes, immediately started designing a new kind of project. A demolition. I took a deep breath, walked back inside, and caught her eye from across the room. She was still laughing with her friends. I gave her a small, tight smile. I grabbed my jacket from the back of a chair, gave her a little 2-finger wave, and walked out the front door. My phone buzzed before I even reached my truck. It was a text from her. "Where are you going? Do not just leave me here." I did not reply. I drove home, and the entire way, my plan began to form, layer by layer, like the strata of a rock formation. She thought I was plain. She thought I was just a stable setup. I was about to show her just how unstable her world was about to become. She thought she had dated better. I was about to introduce her to her replacement. Update 1. It has been 1 week since I walked out of that party. A week of silence on my end, and a week of escalating panic on hers. Thank you for the comments and support. It seems a lot of you understand that revenge is a dish best served cold, and right now, my freezer is fully stocked. When I got home that night, I did not waste a single second. My mind was clear, my purpose absolute. I went through the house with the efficiency of a demolition crew. Every item that belonged to her, clothes, shoes, makeup, the photos of us she had framed, I packed into boxes. I stacked them neatly in the garage. Next, I changed the locks on every door. Then, I dealt with the finances. We had a joint account for household bills, which I primarily funded. I logged in, calculated her exact contributions over the past 6 months, a laughably small amount, and transferred that sum to her personal account. Then I closed the joint account permanently. The supplementary credit card I had given her for emergencies was canceled a few minutes later. By 4 in the morning, every trace of her existence in my house was gone, except for the boxes in the garage. I had surgically removed her from my life. The next morning, the real work began. This was not just about kicking her out, it was about destroying the entire premise of her argument. It was about showing her, and her entire shallow circle of friends, what real value looks like. There is a woman in my city named Isabella. She is a local celebrity of sorts, a lifestyle influencer with a huge social media following. She is beautiful, successful, and runs her brand with a sharp business mind. Jenna was obsessed with her. She copied her style, went to the restaurants Isabella recommended, and talked about her constantly. To Jenna, Isabella represented everything she wanted to be: admired, desired, and effortlessly cool. Here's the thing. I knew Isabella. My company had the commercial contract for the luxury apartment building she lived in. We had designed and maintained the building's rooftop garden and common areas. I had met with her personally a few times to discuss the project. We had a good professional relationship. She respected my work, and I respected her business sense. I called her that morning. I told her I had a strange business proposal. I explained that I was ending a bad relationship and that I needed her help with a unique project. I offered to completely redesign and renovate her private 2,000 square foot rooftop terrace, a project that would easily cost over $50,000, completely for free. I would use the best materials, the most exotic plants, everything. It would be a showpiece. In return, I needed one thing from her. For 1 week, she had to pretend to be my new girlfriend on social media. She was silent for a moment, and I thought I had gone too far. Then she laughed. "Let me get this straight," she said. "You want to pay me in a $50,000 terrace to help you get revenge on your ex-girlfriend? Alex, that is the most creative business proposal I have ever heard. I am in." The game was on. Jenna, in the meantime, was spiraling. After I did not respond to her initial angry texts, she showed up at the house the next day. Her key did not work. She banged on the door for 10 minutes before giving up. Then came the emails, the voicemails, the messages through friends. They were all the same. A mix of rage and confusion. She had no idea what was happening. She had been kicked out of her good setup, and she could not understand why. After a week of this, Isabella made her first move. She posted a picture on her Instagram story. It was a close-up of a stunningly beautiful and very expensive orchid. The caption was simple: "He has good taste." Jenna must have seen it. Her friends definitely saw it. The messages I started getting from third parties became more frantic. They were asking me what was going on, telling me Jenna was a mess. 2 days later, Isabella posted again. This time it was a photo of her and me. We were on her terrace, looking over some design blueprints. We were standing close, laughing about something. It was a perfectly staged shot. We looked like a happy, successful couple. The caption read, "Planning something beautiful with the master himself. So excited for this collaboration." The reaction was immediate. Isabella's followers loved it. They were all commenting on what a handsome couple we made. But the real explosion was happening in Jenna's world. I heard from a mutual acquaintance that Jenna had a complete meltdown. She could not understand how I, the plain, unattractive man she had been with, was suddenly with Isabella, the woman she idolized. Her entire worldview was short-circuiting. Her friends, the ones who had laughed at her cruel comments, were now bombarding her with questions. They were not supportive. They were jealous and confused. The man they had dismissed as a boring provider was now publicly linked with an A-list influencer. Jenna tried to fight back. She started telling people I had been cheating on her with Isabella for months. But the story did not stick. I had a reputation for being a loyal, straightforward guy, and Isabella was a beloved local figure. No one believed it. The final checkmate of this phase happened yesterday. Jenna, desperate and with nowhere else to go, had been staying on the couch of one of the friends who was at the party. That friend, seeing the social currency shifting, had apparently had enough of the drama. She kicked Jenna out. Jenna is now truly homeless. She has no money, no place to live, and her friends have abandoned her. She thought my stability was my weakness. She is about to learn that it is the source of my power. She thought I was the least attractive man she had ever been with. She is about to find out what it feels like to be the least desirable woman in the room. Update 2. It has been 2 weeks since I walked away from the party and my old life. The demolition phase is complete. Now, I am in the satisfying stage of watching the dust settle and seeing what remains in the wreckage. After Jenna was kicked out of her friend's place, she did the one thing she had left to do. She came to me. She must have waited in her car down the street because she showed up at my front door just as I was getting home from work. She had been crying. Her makeup was a mess. The confident, arrogant woman who had dismissed me at that party was gone. In her place was a desperate, broken person. It had no effect on me. I felt nothing but a cold sense of finality. "Alex, we need to talk," she said, her voice trembling. "There is nothing to talk about, Jenna," I replied, not moving from my doorway. "Please," she begged. "I made a mistake, a terrible mistake. I was just trying to sound cool in front of my friends. I did not mean it. I love you." "No, you did not," I said, my voice calm. "You did not make a mistake. You revealed the truth. You told them exactly how you feel. I am just grateful I finally heard it." She started to cry harder. "But what about us? What about everything we built?" "We did not build anything," I said. "I built a life, and you were living in it. There is a difference." That was when another car pulled into my driveway. It was Isabella. She was not part of the plan for this confrontation, but her timing was perfect. She got out of her car, looking like $1 million, and walked up to the porch. She smiled at me, then gave Jenna a brief, dismissive glance. "Alex, I was just looking over the final designs for the terrace," she said, holding up her tablet. "They are stunning. You are a genius." She then looked at Jenna, who was staring at her with a mixture of hatred and awe. "Oh, I am sorry," Isabella said, her voice dripping with fake politeness. "Are we interrupting something?" Jenna just stood there, speechless. The woman she idolized was standing on my porch, praising me, looking at her like she was something she had scraped off her shoe. "Jenna was just leaving," I said. I turned to Jenna. "Your things are in the garage. I suggest you call someone to help you get them. You are no longer welcome on this property." She looked from me to Isabella and back again. The last bit of fight went out of her. She just nodded, turned, and walked back to her car, a completely defeated woman. The consequences for her and her friends have been swift and brutal. The story of what happened, the real story, has spread like wildfire through their social circle. The fact that I overheard her, that I walked away without a word, and that I was now with Isabella has painted me as a decisive, powerful man, and has painted her as a fool. Her friends, the ones who laughed at her comments, have all distanced themselves from her. Their social standing is important to them, and being associated with Jenna has become toxic. They have all unfriended her on social media and have been telling everyone that they were shocked by her comments. They threw her under the bus to save themselves. Jenna is now living with her parents in a town 2 hours away. She has no job, no friends, and no prospects. The better men she had dated in the past are nowhere to be found. They were attracted to her confidence and her social status, both of which are now gone. The terrace project at Isabella's apartment is underway. My crew is doing an amazing job, and Isabella has been posting daily updates to her followers. My company has been flooded with new clients. The project has become the best marketing I have ever done. Isabella and I have become good friends. She is a smart, funny, and genuinely decent person. There is no romance, but there is a deep mutual respect. She has told me that she has gotten dozens of messages from women sharing their own stories of being with men who did not appreciate them. Our little revenge project has, in a strange way, become a source of inspiration. I did not set out to destroy Jenna's life. I just set out to build my own, without her in it. The fact that her world crumbled as a result is a consequence of her own actions. She built her life on a foundation of lies and disrespect. I just happened to be the one to kick out the support beam. She thought I was the least attractive man she had ever been with. She is now learning a hard lesson. Character is far more attractive than a handsome face, and a strong spine is more valuable than a fat wallet. Final update. It has been 6 months since I walked out of that party. The final pieces of this story have fallen into place, and the ending is more complete than I could have imagined. My life has been rebuilt, stronger and better than before. Hers has been permanently altered. The terrace I built for Isabella became a local sensation. It was featured in a design magazine, and my business has grown exponentially. I have hired 2 new crews and have a waiting list a year long. The success has been incredible, but it is not the most satisfying part of this story. After the confrontation at my house, Jenna disappeared from my life. I heard nothing from her or about her for months. The silence was a gift. I started dating again, cautiously at first. I met a woman, a doctor named Claire, who is intelligent, kind, and looks at me like I am the only man in the room. She knows the whole story about Jenna, and she thinks it is the most decisive and respectable thing she has ever heard. We are building something real, something based on mutual respect. The final chapter on Jenna came from an unexpected source, her mother. She called me about a month ago. She was not calling to yell or to make excuses for her daughter. She was calling to apologize. She told me that Jenna had hit rock bottom. Living at home, with no job and no friends, she had been forced to confront the person she had become. Her mother said that the incident had been a brutal but necessary wake-up call. She told me that Jenna was in therapy, trying to understand why she placed so much value on the superficial opinions of others. Her mother then told me the real reason for her call. Jenna had left a significant amount of debt on a credit card that her parents were now responsible for. She had been living a life far beyond her means for years, and my stability had been the only thing keeping her afloat. Her mother asked if there was any way I would consider helping, for old time's sake. I was polite, but firm. I am sorry for the situation you are in, I told her, but I am not responsible for Jenna's choices. I have closed that chapter of my life. That was the moment I knew I was truly free. The last, lingering thread of connection had been cut. Her problems were no longer mine to solve. The revenge was never about Isabella. She was just a catalyst, a beautiful and effective tool. The real revenge was in what happened next. It was in the silence. It was in my complete and total refusal to engage with her drama. I did not yell, I did not argue, I did not fight. I just removed myself. I became a ghost. And in my absence, her entire world, which had been propped up by my presence, collapsed under its own weight. She thought my value was in my stability and my bank account. She failed to see that my true value was in my respect, my loyalty, and my love. She took those things for granted, and so I took them away. She called me plain and unattractive. I responded by showing her that a man of substance and character is more desirable than any of the shallow men she admired. She has been replaced, but not just by another woman. She has been replaced by my peace of mind. She has been replaced by my self-respect. She has been replaced by a life that is authentically and completely my own. And there is nothing more attractive than that.